Aoud Alma. Ketipa Heru. We give homage to the Creator, who is like our Father, and who is like our Mother, who is everything that we can perceive, and everything that we cannot perceive, who is everything, yet is no thing, who comes to us in the form of the Netanel Ra, who is the light of the heavens, light of the inner planes, as well as the light of our lives, who shines the light for us on the path of Ma'ati, which is the path of truth, justice, righteousness, and harmonious balance, who comes to us in the form of the light of vitality, giving us the strength and the endurance to live and act upon that which we know to be true. Homage to you, the one who shines in and through us as a beacon of light for those who are blind to the facts of their place, their position, and their responsibilities in the divine scheme of things. May we be Ma'akiru, true of thought, word, and deed, to our highest reality, and in our moments of crises and the dark nights of the soul, when it appears that everyone and everything else has let us down, so it is, and so shall it be. Amen Ma'at. Ma'akiru. 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 MC. So many lessons today. Lessons upon lessons, levels upon levels. I want to first start by appreciating all the people that showed up in the room today. Give yourselves energy. It takes a great sacrifice of time, energy, and traveling for the people to come here to open the way for the possibility of the rest of the world to come see us or come and join us and stuff like that. Now, we also appreciate the people that are in their homes, in the comfort of their own homes, who are listening to us in live time. We appreciate that. But listen, life is about decisions. And we acknowledge and we know everyone's right to not take up us upon the invite to come and join us in live time. But the opposite works also. For those of us that came, we reserved our right to show up to do what it is that we all claim needs to be done for us as a people, right? So it begs to ask, why isn't that such a, we have a decent amount of people in the room, but based off of the numbers and the analytics of the people that actually tap into us, why is it, we have to ask ourselves, why is it that it's always the smallest number of people carrying the brunt of the work for the whole? Yet we all say all of this stuff needs to be done, right? We could talk about buildings, we could talk about land and acquisition of things, but it all is going to come down to your character. And your character, we talk about in this opening prayer, your ability to live and act upon that which you know to be true consistently, when it's convenient, when it's not convenient, when it's ideal and when it is not ideal. That's what it's all about. We have to ask ourselves, sometimes I wonder, have we become masters of, masters of mismanaging our time and misscheduling? So as long as the conscious movement been up over here in America, it should have been more moves made just as a whole, as us as a community, not just this tier of the society, but all tiers should have been way ahead of themselves. But when I listen to the dialogue that goes on in our community, it's a lot of mismanaging of time and misscheduling. Oh, communion is this Sunday? You should put out a reminder. Do y'all know in the almost 30 years we've been doing this, I never forgot about communion? Never have to be reminded. Nobody has to remind me of my duty. Everybody out there, y'all have the same duty. Half the job is just to show up. And the other half of the job is to do the work. So now, if we're struggling with just showing up, is the work really being done? Y'all like, oh man, this is in one of them moves. But I can't let it slide. I'm concerned about just the upward and onward forward progress of our community. Many of us are getting older and whatever. It needs to be generations and generations behind us set to pick it up when we transition and move on. So I can't let it slide. So let's have a metaphysical lesson about it. You all represent the feminine principle. Not that you're women, but it's the principle of energy, the principle of potentiality, and leadership represents the masculine principle. It's assertive, it's dynamic, it gets stuff done. So it is the job of the leaders to listen to the people. Y'all always say that, right? Everybody's putting the pressure on the leader. Why haven't you done more for the community? You can only do what the people are willing to do, even as a leader. So the leaders have to listen to what the potential, the people, the energy say they want done, and it is the job of the leader to create a structure and give direction and create a template so the energy could be funneled into, so we could become something greater and different and unique than has ever been before. Y'all follow? So now if the energy, the people, the potential is uncooperative to being funneled into that template, then the energy, the people just stay abstract. And when the people and the energy stay abstract, it's just all talk, right? So, let us pivot. Today's lesson is called the power of the pivot. That's why I say it's many lessons, many levels, many layers. So let us pivot. Number one. I didn't forget my manners when I said Yahweh. Remember?
Yahweh! And a roll call.
And a roll call. We'll get to it. So greetings to all the people that don't know. I'm the Nasib Biddy. I'm the chief and head priest of the Temple of Anu, and welcome to the Communion Experience, peace, and greetings to the righteous and respectful chat. I trust everything is all well with the people in the room and other people online. I trust all is well, but I have to take a step back because there were certain things said in the room before we came online. So even though I say I trust all is well, I understand that many people are going through things. In light of everything that we know, a lot of people are going through things. So for you all that are going through things and things are less than ideal, here's a reminder lesson for you all. I'm going to say three things and I'm going to ask you to repeat after me. Say, I know, I am who I am.
I am who I am.
I know what I know.
I know what I know.
And I do what I do.
And I do what I do.
Okay, that right there is the secret sauce of all spiritual traditions, whether it's Chinese, whether it's African, whether it's Christian. Everything is going to come down to your ultimate connection to principle. So take that, think about that, internalize that, and then the next stage is release it. Release it to your ancestors and the divine, that everybody does all these libations and claim all these powerful things about the nets of the room and got them tattooed on your body and on your altars and on the doors and the walls of your house. Release it to your ancestors and the divine, because you created a reality that you think you can't handle this situation. I say you created this illusion that you can't handle a certain thing, that it is beyond you. So understand, it's 2024, so my conversation is changing. You know, we could do the religious thing, we could quote texts and stuff, but it's time for just like grounded, anchoring conversations. So we have to be honest and transparent with ourselves, that we play this cat and mouse game with ourselves about how we create realities. We all make some weird decisions sometimes when we're not being clear with ourselves, and when things don't work out the way we want them to work out, we do this distress thing. Oh, why am I going through what it is that I'm going through? Were you being honest and clear and transparent with yourself when you made the decision or decisions? And then we start libating, we start doing prayers and offerings, and some people do blood sacrifices, all types of stuff to get these forces outside of us to kind of save us from ourselves. And then what happens? Something happens, and then you just start getting sick and tired of being sick and tired. And you start going about doing things different. And when you go about things different, then it appears that the universe conspires to help you out, right? Has that been people's experience? Then it's letting you know that when you made that decision at the beginning, there was no outside agency that made you make that decision. Just like when you got sick and tired of being sick and tired and you did something different, there was no outside force responsible for that. So the point is, you're never stuck. We don't get stuck. There's only transition periods where all you're required to just be patient and wait. All you're ever required to is just stick to doing what it is that you do and just be centered. And the answers rarely ever come the way you think they're supposed to be. But we rarely ever get stuck. If y'all remember we did was that last communion I spoke about Kepper? So Kepper is, the Army cow came through with the picture. What do y'all see in this picture? The beetle. What else? The ankh. What else? The wings. Y'all goofy. The sun. The sun. What did we say that sun was? Yeah. Huh? Y'all can't be wrong. Dumb. Y'all went with all the high qualities. It's dumb. It is cosmic consciousness, intelligence of the universe. We talked about Kepper being the Lord of the dung, the Lord of shit. This is not a curse. That's metonentic. The word shit is metonentic. Shet. It is interchangeable with the word ket or shet or sket or shket. So I didn't curse. Ket means things. Shit means things. So the Lord of the dung tells us there's always things to do. There are always things happening. Do y'all believe that African, black, and melanated people are organically powerful people? Mentally powerful? Do you all in this room accept your own personal power? Do you feel like you're destined to be a powerful person? And that we're destined to be powerful people? I hope y'all ready, because I just set y'all up. Okay. So now, all right, here's the pivot. Remember, it's 2024. We have to take things to another level. We have to have conversations in a way conversations have never been had before. We have to have some hard truths. When the Christian said to come to Jesus moment. Who can we play? Come to Amen, come to Rob moment. All right, so if you don't like the word accountability, if you don't like the word responsibility and everything that comes with it, the successes, the failures, the blessings, and the catastrophes, then keep the word power out your mouth. And I repeat, if you have a problem with the word accountability, full responsibility and everything, the successes that come, because everybody liked it when you get the accolades. But when the accolades ain't there, we looking to blame. Is our brother? Is it the Moors? Is it the Indians? Is it the white man? So if you don't like that responsibility, keep the word power out your mouth and shut up and sit down. So here's the caveat. We're kingdom building. We're empire building. If you're not totally invested in the nation, the empire building, and the kingdom building, your beliefs, your feelings, your opinions are no longer valid. We don't got to hear them. So just be quiet, be a fan, and let the true players play. Because life is for the living. That's why we carry the ankh, because the ankh is life, it's the lifestyle. That's why we wear the ankh, because it's the lifestyle. We talk the talk because we walk the walk. We came forth from a place deep in the dark. We're figuring things out. It's considered an art. Bars. Now let the lesson start. A pivot again. And I told you, lessons upon lessons and layers upon layers. Today is called the power of the pivot. So, I'm going to say something shocking. Today, we're officially divorcing ourselves from the conscious community. We're divorcing ourselves from just the black community in general. Some people be like, I knew they was niggas. Coons. They think they better walk around with the right and the arm. They think they better than them. Coons. All right, so let us reframe. That was just for shock value. We're divorcing ourselves from certain narratives that our community holds sacred. We'll always stay about black power and black empowerment. We'll always be about unity. We'll always be about nation building. So that sounds better, right? We're safe. But We're not going to be about victimhood. So if you're leading with that conversation of victimhood, we can't play by that no more. That's a different type of narrative. That means you're trying to build the nation off of trauma bonding. And trauma bonding is only going to lead to more pain and dysfunction, as we see evident now that's going on in the community. After all this information that everybody has, the only conclusion everybody has is is now attack one another. So you got the Moors attacking the Kemites, these indigenous natives. Everybody just attacking everybody except the people that did what they did to us. If you got smoke for everybody except who you're supposed to have smoke for. So slavery happened, and we're never going to forget that, but we have to create a different narrative. We have to heal from that, create a different narrative to define ourselves other than just survivors of slavery. Because if you just go with the survivors of slavery, then that means you're just broken and you're dysfunctional. And people don't divinize their brokenness and this dysfunction. Yes, you're strong that you survived that. Yes, we have some strong genetics, but we ain't finished. We're undone. So there's been some shift, there's been some changes, but we've yet to heal. Right? So we're divorcing, we're diverting, pivoting. Meaning we're changing up. We're not changing ourselves. You all right back there?
You're all right.
Okay. So we're not changing who we are. We're changing our strategy. We're changing our approach to things. We're clarifying the principles that we all said we were supposed to be living by. So I want to sidebar, but ironically he's not here yet. I think we all should commend our session to Sue for that excellent lecture he did last week about ancestor veneration and the Kemetic legacy. It all ties into it. It was excellent. I just feel like what I see in the community, people be thinking the Kemetic tradition is the weakest out of the ATR. They think we're just a bunch of scholars and not true practitioners and not tapped into the power, but little do people know that most Kemetic people are initiates in several systems. A lot of people are in the voodoo, a lot of people are in the E5, what they call Shea Legba. So if anything, the Kemetic people are the most gifted with bringing it all together and tying it all in. For all those out there that may be dismayed or wondering, what is African spirituality, Kemetic spirituality is about? Why don't y'all talk about God? Why y'all always talking about the ancestors? Your ancestors can't help you. Your ancestors are dead. I see that online. The Christians be taking their shots. Your ancestors, they're dead. They can't do nothing for you. Okay, here's the resolution. Netter, right? What is Netter? Who is Netter? What is Netter? Give me one word. Netter is what? All. The creator. We'll say the creative force. So how we teach it in the African tradition, if Netter is the all, the creative force, everything comes from Netter, right? So therefore, Netter is the greatest ancestor. Netter is the first ancestor. So from Netter, you got generations upon generations upon generations before you. You can't ignore that. There's a line, there's a lineage that leads you direct back to God. So when you see ancestor veneration in the African thing, we're not venerating our ancestors to worship the ancestors. We're not doing anything for them. We're helping them support us on this path of self-actualization. That's what it is. So ATR, African traditional religions, Kemetic traditions, are the resolution between God, ancestors, and your own self-divinity. Got it? Now back to the pivot. To be honest, to have a moment of transparency, I like to consider myself a man of principle. I've always been a man of principle. I put principle even over culture. Principle is more important to me than any belief. To be honest, a lot of the stuff that our community's been talking about, I never gave a damn about any of it. Because I'm a man of principle. And when I say I'm a man of principle, I mean I'm about anything that makes you become the better version of yourself. So I'm not about all this complaining. I'm a warrior, so if I lose, and like Kepler said, you could lose gracefully, then you train and don't let it happen again. Matter of fact, you dare them to do that same move again because you're ready this time or whatever. That's how we got to start pivoting as a people. We got to stop lamenting and crying about what's happened. It's happened, it's done. Spilt milk. What's up now? What's up with the future? Are you ready? So I've aligned myself with the Kemetic teachings because inside of the Kemetic teachings are the same principles that I espouse personally. It's called the Sabbat, the teachings. So Kemetic culture is pure principles which I stand on that is wrapped in culture. You know, I got it? It's pure principle. The foundation is pure principle and it's wrapped in culture. And culture is good. Culture is good for fellowship. Culture is good for community. Community, righteous communities is good for the world in general. So I'm never going to speak against culture. Now, to be a man or woman of principle. Men and women of principle often get confused with the higher level, being initiated in the higher levels of things. People confuse highly principled people with religious people or devout people. So you could be, when you're standing strong on your principle, people be like, are you a monk or something? Are you a priest or you're a priestess? Or you're a pastor or whatever, because you're so strong. And that's very telling because the higher levels of all of the religions, you're required to be more principled. So if you speak to somebody in the Jewish tradition and they're into that Kabbalah thing, and you speak to a Muslim and they're into Sufi, then you speak to a Kemetic priest. When the Kemetic priest, the Sufi, and the Kabbalists get together, that's a different level conversation that goes on. They're not talking about no scripture. They're not talking about no little laws, what food to eat or whatever. They're talking about pure principle, which you're standing on. And you'll see that there's a commonality between all of the religions. And a lot of times the conflict come through culture. When we arguing about, do you got a tassel or not? And God mad at you because you ain't wearing tassels, or God mad at you because you ain't wore a beard or some craziness. We be bugging. Inconsequential stuff. So what am I getting to? Netter. Netter. Do y'all know the symbol for netter? Okay. Flag or flag. Some people say we'll go with both. So flag or axe. Netter represents power. It represents principle. It's a power principle. It's a principle of power. So it's the source of a power. Y'all get it? So you put a flag down in the ground that represents sovereignty. Or an axe, like what's up? Power. Both of them both represent power. So it doesn't matter which one you want to go with. Is it a flag or is it an axe? It represents power. So when you say you're a man or a woman of principle, and we understand principle to be netter, is a source of power. So when you've identified yourself and tried to make yourself indistinguishable with a principle, you're connected with source energy. And when you're connected with source energy, the feelings and views and opinions of people rarely sway you because you're standing on principle, that flag, and you're standing on that power. Like what? That's what they mean by standing on your business. That's what you stand on business for as a spiritual people. And how others feel about your principles is their own business. You can't help if other people are rudderless in this world. You can only stand on your principles. So we're divorcing, we're diverting, we're pivoting, we're changing our strategy, changing our approach. Have y'all all heard of the 7 principles of alchemy? Yeah, calcination, yeah, dissolution. I think the 4th one, study those on your own. I'm talking about the 4th one. It's called separatio. Separatio means to separate for purification purposes. So you got some. That's what we're doing. We're separating. We're pivoting ourselves from our community. We have to, before consider reintegration, we have to contemplate integrity. Before we consider the integration, we have to contemplate our integrity. Meaning, you heard me say divorce, divert, pivot. So when you say divorce or divert, it means to go another way. So if we divorced from a relationship, you have to separate to now go find yourself again. Because sometimes when you're in a relationship, you have to sacrifice part of yourself to be part of this thing, right? And some parts of yourself you deactivated just to keep peace in this relationship. So if you're no longer part of that relationship, you have to have this conversation with yourself and like, okay, who am I again? What is it that I believe? Do I even believe that anymore? Oh, okay, this is what I believe. Okay, now I'm going to stand on it. And then once you become clear again, you become unapologetic as you move forward. So you don't stay in separation. So we have a temporary separation from our community and the rest of the conscious community. We got to regain our center. But when you regain your center, this is where the integrity comes back in. You be like, okay, what do I believe? We believe in the self-divination, means self-actualization. When you stand on principle, and the principle is net, the principle is the source of your power, that heals all shortcoming. You hear that? The stuff y'all going through with the anxiety, just examine your principles. Who are you? What do you stand on? Are you willing to be patient, endure as the universe starts adjusting for you? Stand on your principle. It resolves all shortcoming. You can't rush the process. It's all alchemy. You're cooking. You're on the stove or you're in the oven. Just always understand that this was all just about process. It was all about character. It was all about lessons. Nobody's holding you back. So before we reintegrate, understand who you are, what it is that you stand on, and check it out. This is how we go forward. We will not involve ourselves in relationships with the community or others of our peers that require us to become a lesser version of ourselves. Y'all heard that? If it requires for us to have to step down, or you're somehow triggered by my power or our power, no bueno. I'm not dumbing down for you. You got, y'all know who I'm talking about. You got one negra who had an issue with me because I taught y'all manners that y'all respected me and him at. He had a problem with that. Could you imagine? Somebody teaching black folks to be respectful. So our power triggered insecurity. Next, if your power makes you, it agitates somebody's insecurity, no bueno, don't deal. Next, if others take issue with respect and authority, if they have an issue with organization, discipline, or getting things done in a timely manner, no bueno. It's 2024, we don't got time to waste no more. We know everything that it is that we need to know. There's no more leaders coming. There's going to be no more Farrakhan's, no Elijah Muhammad's, no Malcolm X. Y'all heard it all before. Nobody can tell you not one iota anything new. If anything, it's just intellectual masturbation at this point. We doing the thing or not. That's why I got to get on people about their presence and stuff like that. Y'all are letting y'all lives and powerful opportunities get past you. You don't want to become an elder, leave this plane, talk about I woulda, coulda, shoulda, because you mismanage your time and misschedule. Come on, we got to be better than that. So all this information you got, all this metaphysics you got, all this ultra stuff, and you still mismanaging your time? Let me get off of that. If showing respect is a problem and we always have to be interpreting your shade, no bueno. Some people got a problem with respecting one another. They're always making side comments, back comments. So if you can't respect me to my face and behind my back, no bueno. And to your peers, if your peers respect you and they're not protecting you behind your back, no bueno. Some people got to get expelled from the tribe. That's where we at. Everybody ain't gonna make it. Part of the weaknesses of black folks, we want everybody to make it, and we start tolerating stuff that we should not be tolerating. When you get on the path, this is going to require for you to be the best version of yourself. You should not keep struggling with that old stuff of who you are. Are you who you say you are? Are you still that old cat from back in the day? You don't got a new name, but your character's the same. Bars out of nowhere. I didn't know you were doing that. So from the ancient legacy to the living legacy, I'm never going to let y'all forget that. Every communion, do y'all know it builds on the next? Have y'all paid attention to that? Everyone builds on the next. Y'all remember 2 communions ago, Himette did her talk on her pole fitness journey. Then I came behind her, right? And I took it to another level. We was doing pivots already. Took it to another level. Understand, I hope the people online, I hope you're understanding the comfort of your own home, that people here at the Temple of Anu, we're doing something bold. we're letting you see in live time what it looks like to reclaim the legacy and how to work it out, work out the differences, work out the incongruences in front of people. That takes gonads. While everybody else is playing it stay safe, they keep perusing over the books, acting all goofy like they don't know what to do with the information. As above, so below. Okay, what you gonna do with that? Oh, the ancients used to chant, praise the Tamara. Oh, okay, what you gonna do with that? Come on now. So every communion builds off the next, right? So we're gonna go back to her discussion and we're gonna take another pivot. Y'all ready? Y'all sure? Yep. All right, so she talked about her Het Haru journey, and to much people's dismay and their concern, it bothers people. But what happened is that gave us an opportunity to have a more mature discussion about Het Haru, right? What people thought was a contradiction turned out after adult conversation. Remember, all you gotta do is ask questions, don't accuse. Let's have an adult y'all notice every time we had an issue with people in the community, they was afraid to have an adult conversation. They went to social media to say something, and we never backed down from no challenge so far. We came to social media and we gave the answer. And then what's the answer is always silence, right? Thought so, right? So once again, so if you're willing to have an adult conversation, so you find out that it wasn't actual contradiction, it was a lack of vision on the behalf of the people who read in the books and not able to take what they're reading in the books and see it in live time. So y'all know the problem with conscious black folks, when you say ancestors and the ancestor legacy, people think backwards. They don't think forwards. When you say ancestors in tradition, they be thinking loincloths, nemesis, pyramids, temples, all the great stuff from the past, but they have no future vision on what they think African tradition looks like. So that's the disconnect. So when we do something in live time, they be looking, where'd you get that from? You're like, yo, the next room alive now. That wasn't something from back then. Y'all just tapped out. We tapped back in. Now you see the difference between the initiate and the scholar. So understand there's science and then there's sacred science. It's the same thing, just different levels. It's pivots. So science is about observation. It's talking about patterns and conclusions and all of this. Sacred science is about patterns and conclusions. Science is about improving your physical life. Sacred science is about building your character, improving your internal life. They were never supposed to be separate. They're always talking about the same thing, but in my opinion, with that thing that they call in modern science, which is only 300 years old, is very sterile. For instance, remember I said when they think of tradition, they think backwards. So it's almost like when people think of African tradition or indigenous spirituality, they don't, in the sense, when they have a problem with what we're doing, they're saying indigenous people can't keep up with the current times and have no future vision. They're just gonna stay stuck doing stuff 3,000 years ago. Nobody ever thinks, if Kemet was uninterrupted, what would it look like now? Right now, you're going to visit Egypt. You're not even going to Kemet. There's no Kemites over here teaching and directing into the rituals and stuff. You're going to a graveyard. The pyramids didn't even look like that. They had limestone on it, which was white. It was shining figures that people seen from miles away. They're like, yo, what is that thing glowing out there? Shining, and it had pictures, color pictures on it. So what you're seeing is a stripped down version, kind of like if somebody stole a car, you took it to the hood and it's on bricks and took all the tires off and stuff. And you're like, oh wow, I could tell this used to be a nice car. So once again, when people think of tradition, they think backwards. So to veggie back off of what Kemet was trying to do with thinking forward about Het Haru. Remember, understand, all Het Haru has profane and profound expressions. Every Neteru has profane and profound expressions and many degrees in between. Y'all understand? The Neteru is still here. They never left. For instance, Montu. Have y'all heard of the word Montu? Munchu, Muntu, right? What are some of the attributes of Montu? Warrior. What are his implements? Strategy. Like, what is his physical implements? sword, what else? What else would you think his implements will be? Sword, shield, knives, daggers, right? So is it a disrespect to Montu if I'm more into guns than knives? Isn't the gun a part of that technology? A gun is an evolution of the spear technology. So the way that people think nowadays, and you go into the gun range and stuff like that, they be like, where's your knives at though? Who's walking around with knives? Can you walk down the street with a scimitar? Do y'all see my palm right here? If a knife is longer than that, it's considered illegal. So you can't even really be on your Montu thing the way you think. So it's just as illegal as carrying a gun. But a gun is a modern day technology, right? So who has a respectable knife and sword collection in their home is a tribute to Montu. Who has a gun up in the closet is a tribute to Montu. You see, it's no distinct. The difference between now and then is there are no rituals before people go to the gun range. And anybody doing libation, nothing reminds me, I hit that bullseye. It's just I'm going to the gun range. So it's nothing sacred about it. It's still the same thing. But it's just the attitude of sacredness is not there. Same with the pole fitness. It's a Haru thing, but if there's the attitude of sacredness is not there, that's the thing that distinguishes it from what the ancestors did. It's your attitude. So Jehuti represents books, scrolls, pen, the quill. So am I disrespecting Jehuti when I pull out my iPad or my iPhone and I'm doing my research? No, it's the same thing. The only difference is I'm not pouring out libations, and maybe that's what people need to be doing short prayers. Like, I gotta get this information.
Exactly.
Lord Jehuti, man, you got me. It's like, go to this Wikipedia. The right answer. Oh, snap is here, But that's how it looks in live time. Let our other peers have it. They want us to be stuck in time. They want us to still be wearing a loincloth. What, you got a jacket on? That's a leather jacket, brother? The ancestors ain't wearing a leather jacket. The ancestors ain't had this mic either. Right? So what are we even doing? All right, so let's kick it up so we can bring it down. So I commended, I actually was standing on business defending the women in their decision to be on their Haru journey, regardless how it looks to men. I commend the women for trying to figure it all out. But I look side-eye at the men for all of the gossiping and the talking and the criticism of the women as they figure it out. I do have some criticism of the women as they figure it out, but they try to figure it out. See, imagine a poll right here. Sometimes, so the women were under-delivering or under-expressing before, so now they got power to express it and kind of overdoing it a little. But you got to trust in the process. As they keep doing the work, they're going to keep coming a little bit more to the center. But that's what we do as human beings. We working it out, right? And I said, why? It's not a place of a man to define what a woman is. It's up for the woman to study women from the beginning of the time, find out what worked for women, what didn't work, and then come to a conclusion of what's best now after all of the research. Not just doing your own thing individually, what's best for women collectively, what best represents the journey of women since the beginning of time. And same with women, you cannot guilt, shame, and insult a man into being a better man. Men have to also study the history of the wins and losses of men too and come to the conclusion of how they're going to be a better man. So we're in the midst of all this conversation, what they're calling gender wars, right? It's gotten kind of crazy. I don't even know if it's real so much because, the algorithm just feeds you with it thinks you're looking at. So you can have this video like, everybody's wilding out. Like, actually, are they? I'll say this much. This is my concern. If there's a gender war, the women won already. And I'll say this. Biologically, everything starts with the woman. Culturally, everything starts with the man. Remember, everything is a reflection of each other. So I don't know if y'all been keeping up with science. Science is y'all daddy, right? Science is y'all religion. Science is the new religion. For the past 5 years, certain information kept coming across my desk. And they're talking about the X and Y chromosomes. Y'all know the difference between the X. The X chromosome is responsible for what? The female gender. And the Y is responsible for the male gender. And some even say the Y is a broken X chromosome, so therefore the woman is superior, man is a deteriorating female. I get it, I accept it, because woman is responsible. The beginning of all biological life starts with the woman. So according to science, the Y chromosome is now disintegrating. The Y chromosome is disintegrating. They're saying in the next million years there's going to be no Y chromosome. So y'all see what I'm saying? The women, y'all won already. A million years, there's going to be no Y chromosome. They're scratching their heads, so it might be a different type of species or something that happened. But check it out, but to add insult to injury. If all is mental, as above what? So within, as without. So y'all understand the mind and body connection, right? We said the body is a manifestation of the mind, correct? So if you have a healthy mind, you have a what? If you have a broken mind, you have a what? Diseased body. So if men lost, and if they're feeling no longer wanted, they're feeling no longer needed, and they don't have camaraderie amongst themselves, men are slowly exiting out existence. So that's why I say y'all won. All these jazzmen been hitting men hard. So they're deciding they're bowing out. Maybe it's another universe they're like, y'all got it, y'all have it. You see what's going to happen to the earth in a million years, y'all got it. Black woman is God. That sounds crazy though, right? But let's build off of it. Did y'all know, according to science now, there's something going on with men puberty age to 25. They're saying 50% of males from puberty to 25, not virgin, but sterile. So men are producing dead sperm or deformed sperm, so they're not even able to reproduce healthy children. So now let's go back to what science said. If the Y chromosome is disappearing, disintegrating, and they said a million years, is this going to take a million years for the men to be up out of here? If it's 50%, we not us in here now. I'm talking about the next generation of men. Under half of them can't reproduce children. And there's some reproductive stuff going on with women too. But so if they're producing dead sperm or deformed sperm, what's the quality of the next generation of men going to be? So if it's already 50%, that means what's going to be 25% the next generation. So we don't need a million years. We're talking about 50 years, 100 years. Third level, the powers that be. Y'all know men produce estrogen also, right? Have y'all ever heard of phytoestrogen? It's plant estrogens and stuff. There's always been this talk about vegetarian and vegan men not being as virile or masculine. It's because of the phytoestrogen. So if you already got estrogen, that's the safe amount of estrogen in your body. So if you're adding estrogen, that could become problematic, right? Do y'all know it's a third level to that? Has anybody heard of xenoestrogen? Xenoestrogens are chemical estrogens that imitate estrogen. So it's from the byproducts of petroleum that's in the air, from gas, from plastic. So plastic is the culprit. Plastic. So xenoestrogen, phytoestrogens is causing men's testosterone to be converted into estrogen. So men are becoming more feminine by the day, not by choice. Based off of the readings, a man's testosterone is measured by something called NGL, that's nanograms, such and such. For a man 40 years old, your testosterone, according to white folks, your testosterone is supposed to be 400 NGLs, right? So from puberty to 25, you should be 1,100 to 1,800 NGLs, right? Now, puberty to 25, they're 200 to 400 in jail. So their hormone profile is that of an older man already. So what's going to happen to them when they get 40 years old? What's going to happen to them when they get 50 years old? Testosterone is down 300% from 3,000 years ago. So our environment is slowly unmasculizing men. So we don't even got the energy to be fighting women about what's a woman. We got to figure out this thing about what it means to be a man. Our testosterone is being transformed into estrogen. So the estrogen is making men more feminine, right? So women, y'all already produce estrogen, right? So remember, y'all breathing in that stuff too. So it's increasing your estrogen. So it's making women more crazier. So your estrogen, so your feminine is just off the hook. So there's a such thing. There's a point when abundance becomes chaos. Listen, abundance without no purpose. I'll give y'all a minute. And the men are goofy, like, come on, you know, tripping like the men are goofy, the women are crazy. That's that thing why men is, oh, the women are so masculine. They're not masculine, they just off the hook with the feminine. It's an abundance. So abundance without purpose, abundance without structure, abundance without direction, abundance without a charge for a different level of manifestation becomes chaos. Remember, the masculine goes towards structure, and the feminine without structure goes towards chaos. Masculine without freedom becomes tyrannical. So we always got to fight. We have this challenge for balance and symmetry, right? I'm not even sure what we can even do about it at this point because it still always comes down to principle. So check it. So plastic. So the mic is plastic. What a credit card is plastic, right? Where do we keep our wallet? In our back pocket, right? Here's a trick. Do y'all keep your wallets in your left pocket?
I do. No, I do.
So you're now putting that plastic around your sacral chakra, your coccyx chakra, the panels of your car, plastic, the polyester in your clothes, plastic. When you go get the Jamaican food, your African food, plastic forks. It's crazy, right? Your water bottles, your clock radio. They got it in for us. Shampoos. Body wash. So of course we have to make better decisions. So try to get still water bottles. Try to get copper water bottles. Try to get glass, bring back glass. Remember they used to have milk and glass back in the day? You might have to go back to that. Tonic herbs. It's unfortunate, so you could take the tonic herbs, but then you go drink out of the plastic bottle of water after the gym workout or whatever. So it's always the stuff canceling out the masculinity. So all right, we go back to principle. This is some remedy. So men, you have to be unapologetic about your masculinity. You have to be unapologetic about your powers of rationalization and understanding and predicting cause and effect and consequence. I repeat, men have to be, because they've told us we toxic because of that. Because we have logic and we're like, yo, you can't do this because you're toxic. You're holding me back from. And that becomes another level. Move over, let that woman do that thing. And don't say nothing to her. Don't tell her that she can do it better. Let her, we gotta shut up. Now transgenders, move over. Women, y'all move over too. And everything masculine becomes a patriarchy. It's all bad. Shut up.
Right.
So it's like, oh, men don't even know where they fit in no more. I know that's a broad stroke, but it's the undercurrent of that is there and it's real. So being unapologetic in your powers of rationalization and understanding, predicting cause and effect and consequence. That's our male power. We hear about the powers of the feminine and stuff, and the male. Understand men have intuition too. That's something the women specialize, but we have it too. So take what I said about the rationalization and connect it with your intuition. Now you're working with your power, right? Get back to starting to create structure and systems. Remember, masculine is dynamic. Masculine is assertive. You create things. Get back to creating systems that work. Get back to restoring order, irregardless of how people feel about it, because everybody's too in their feelings. Remember, just feelings and potential all over the place without no structure, without no order, it lends towards chaos. So everybody think just because they feel something don't mean it's right. You can feel strongly, you can be strong and wrong. That's why the feminine and the masculine always have to be a part of the equation. One is not better than the other. So get back to start creating structure and systems. Be unapologetic about your powers of rationalization and knowing cause and effect and consequences. With compassionate detachment, meaning being gentle but firm, be able to articulate undeniable logic and the purpose and the benefit of your systems and your structure. Because that's the disconnect between men and women. Men are coming off like, you need to listen to me because I'm a man. Stop all this feeling and stuff. You're wilding. Stop it. I'm here. The man is here. I'm going to so the ability to articulate with undeniable logic and purpose the benefit of the structure. So take your time and learn to speak to people at their level. And it doesn't matter if people in their feelings, if they buck against it. So, because all you got to do is ask a question. So, if I let you go with your feeling, can you demonstrate how your feeling is going to benefit anybody other than yourself? You always have to connect with how can I benefit myself, but how can I benefit the tribe also? So the men's job is to be like, put out that sequence of events. Be like, yeah, there's going to have to be some sacrifices from all of us, but it's going to be better for all of us in the end. So everybody's going to might have to give up something in order for the greater. That's the masculine. Next, challenge them to, if they can't do that, if they can't show how it's going to benefit anybody other than themselves, they should be expected to yield. Build strong bodies to be able to stand on and protect what you set up. Having something and not being able to defend it is like not having it at all. That's what my teacher said. Emphasis and Jehuti must said if having something and not being able to defend it is like not having it at all. So men need strong bodies. This is not about controlling the feminine. We play this game with feminine and women and masculine and men. This is not about controlling the feminine. It's not about controlling women. Because some people do think it's about that. Because they're trying to stand on a principle with no wisdom. They be like, I'm a man, and you need to chill and sit down because I said so. In reality, the feminine or the women avatar got no problem with following the man. They just want to know what's the plan. What's the plan? Where you leading me to? So the men, what are your plan? Men don't be having no plan. They just want the authority with no plan. So it's the job of the men or the masculine to set up a structure for the feminine to flow into and fill up. The purpose of the feminine is to pour into and expand. Remember, the feminine is the abundance. So can you create an environment, men, can we create an environment where the feminine can prosper without judgment? Where the feminine feels safe in her essence, without you just trying to control for the sake of controlling. And it sounds like I'm all pro-masculine, but you create that stress. You got to be a man to be like, yo, I set this up. Now I need you, baby. I need you to throw your magic in there. Your magic is going to take it to the next level. Instead of, no, we got to let the men do all the work. Get the ladies, sit down, cook the food. Watch the children. She has power too. Set up the structure and let her shine too. Let her fill it up. But the challenge of the masculine sets order, right? It sets structure, right? But the masculine has to have the wisdom to know that rules are made to be broken. What happens when the feminine come in and it fills up and it's busting at the seams? That's where the control issues come with the men. So you'd be like, okay, this structure is no longer serving us now. It's gotta go. So do the men have the insight to now go to the another, be thinking into the future to set up another level so the feminine could continue flowing, so we all could continue process. Is that thought process clear? Always be forward thinking and understanding the structure has to continue to grow. We just can't stay at one level. So in closing, the pivot is getting back to figuring out how to restore our symmetry. And that symmetry was always figured out through our culture. That's what our ceremony is for. That's what Reverend Pet is about. That's technically what Tantra and other things is about. It has a way of going about all these things in the healthiest manner possible. So our conversation and our focus and our pivot needs to get back to symmetry. Symmetry is balance. Symmetry is ma'at. Because all we're trying to do is really just live up to that thing when we say in ma'at, living in truth. That's talking about symmetry. So I'll close on that note and we could continue the conversation next time so everybody could stand up. I thank everybody for their attention, their time. Left foot forward, hands out. Shimmy and Matep. Brothers right over left, sisters left over right. D and new, Uncle Jocelyn.
D and new, Uncle Jocelyn.
Open up, give energy in the room, retract the foot, bring it into the heart chakra, ground out on the count of 3, stomp the ground with the right foot, while new shimmy. All right.
Dua, everyone. Dua for joining us on Facebook and YouTube today. We appreciate your time and your donations. Your reciprocity can be sent to Cash App, $ Temple of Anu, or PayPal or Zelle using our email address, templeofanu@gmail.com. Again, we appreciate your reciprocity in the form of your donations, your time, and your energy. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Shami Matep.